After a failed attempt at making a video game starring Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Okay.
Ed Boon and John Tobias decided to switch gears and make their fantasy horror-themed fighting game. This is Mortal Kombat.
Oh, shit. That's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah. Welcome to Press Start to Join episode 139. I'm Josh.
And I'm Alan. 24 years ago, Mortal Kombat hit arcades.
A staple of 2D fighters, Mortal Kombat has made its way into popular culture.
Test your might, it's Mortal Kombat history.
So, no preamble, we just gotta get right into it. 1992, Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Midway gave the creators the task of creating a combat game for release within a year.
Oh, jeez.
This game was to be released and compete with Street Fighter II. So, it was reported that it took as little as 10 months between 91 and 92. And Ed Boon, who's going to come up a ton.
I don't know him.
Ed Boon and John Tobias are known as the creators of Mortal Kombat.
Gotcha.
So, Boon said the development team was 4 people. He was a programmer, John Tobias and John Vogel were artists, and Dan Forden was the sound designer.
Wow. Well, I guess game teams ran lean back in the day.
Oh, yeah. So, the team had a difficult time getting a name for the game. And at one point, Boon said that 6 months during the development, he said, nobody could come up with a name nobody didn't hate. So he says some of the names were Kumite, Dragon Attack, Death Blow, and Fatality. And then one day, someone written down Combat on the drawing board for the names in Boone's office, and somebody wrote a K over the C, and Boon thought it was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Then a pinball designer named Steve Ritchie came in, and he was sitting in Boone's office, saw the word combat, and said, why don't you just name it Mortal Kombat? And after that, Boon said it just stuck. And now they frequently use the letter K instead of a C whenever there's the hard C sound.
I really hope that guy gets like some residuals or something for that.
So, this game changed everything for gaming. It's one of the controversial games that showed up and created the need for an entertainment software rating board.
Yeah, it definitely kicked off the ESRB.
Yeah. The other games were Night Trap and Lethal Enforcers.
Although Night Trap, it's like it's campy non-violence,
yeah,
but it's weird.
And Lethal Enforcers is cops shooting and running over people that looked semi-photorealistic.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's ESRB material.
Yeah. So the graphics were the main focus of this controversy. Because instead of like a cartoonish figure like Street Fighter, the characters were sprites made from video.
Yeah, just like stop motion basically.
Yeah. They recorded the actors on a high 8 camera, which is usually used for home movies. Little cassettes. So they were all recording of actors except for Goro. If you're not familiar with it, which I'm surprised if you're not, he's a four-armed demon, and he was a stop-motion character.
Yeah.
And also, they started with the first few palette swaps. SubZero was made yellow, and then he was Scorpion, and then made green for Reptile. And actually, when they recorded the suit for SubZero, the blue was red.
Huh, weird.
So they had a red ninja that they colored blue to make SubZero, colored it yellow to make Scorpion, colored it green to make Reptile. And eventually the red ninja showed up as Ermac in later games.
Oh yeah, I was like, it sounds familiar, but I couldn't remember the name Ermac, because that's such a weird name.
There's going to be a lot of weird names.
Fair.
So, this game isn't the first, but it set a lot of standards for 2D fighters now. The competitor Street Fighter had characters that had different heights, speed, attacks, their jump lengths were different. But Mortal Kombat featured characters which were all very similar, with small differences between them, like special attacks and...
They're all humans, which is a pretty drastic leap from Street Fighter, where it's like stretchy yoga dude, giant green monster.
Mm-hmm. The first game had 7 playable characters and 3 non-playable. You could be Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya, Raiden, Kano, SubZero, and Scorpion. And then unplayable were Goro, Shang Tsung, and Reptile.
Okay.
One thing that made this game different, the first Mortal Kombat introduced the idea of juggling, because there was a long air time when characters got knocked up.
Oh.
And also, the concept of fatalities evolved from a dizzy mechanic that they wanted in the game earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But then later Boon said that he hated the dizzied mechanic because it was fun to have an opponent get dizzied and get a free hit, but it wasn't fun to get a free hit on you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Boon and Tobias decided you could eliminate the aggravation of being dizzied by having it occur at the end of the fight, after, there's already a winner.
Yeah, it's just insult to injury at that point.
Yeah. And with the arcade, there was a single player and a 2-player mode. The 2 players could start the game together, and then the winner would continue on the single player campaign, or just straight up 2v2, a duel on consoles. In the single player mode, you had to fight all 7 characters with you mirror match at the end. Then you had to fight in 3 endurance matches where you had to fight 2 opponents each time with 1 health bar.
Oh, brutal.
After the 3rd endurance match, you fight Goro, which was the first time you see that, it would be terrifying because you see nothing like him.
Yeah, they're all humans, and then this 4-armed beast.
Yeah, that doesn't get stunned by many of your attacks.
Oof.
And then at the end, you fight against Shang Tsung, who starts turning into all the people you've already fought.
Oh, crazy.
And between certain levels, players can compete in the minigame Test Your Might for bonus points, where you'd break blocks of various materials.
Oh yeah, that's been a series staple.
Yeah. You would just rapidly press buttons, and you started off by breaking wood, then stone, steel, ruby, and then diamond.
Damn.
So each time it got harder, but ruby and diamond only existed in the 2-player mode.
I guess you couldn't possibly get that far with one person pressing buttons.
Or it's just less interesting, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why. They released 4 ports for their Mortal Monday campaign in 1993 for consoles. The Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, and the Game Boy and Game Gear got ports.
Oh, wow.
The Super Nintendo version had the audio and visual more accurate than the Genesis, but the gameplay was very much changed due to Nintendo's family-friendly policy.
Oh yeah, didn't they change the blood to green or something?
They changed it to blue for sweat.
Right.
Blue and white. And most of the fatalities were made less violent, and they called them finishing moves. And then on the Genesis version, the blood and uncensored fatalities, you could get through a cheat code where you just typed in ABACABB. Apparently, it's a nod to Abacab, an album by the band Genesis.
Oh, cool.
That shared the name with the console, so that's their joke. So for the first game, Electronic Gaming Monthly gave Mortal Kombat the most controversial game of 1993.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Through all this research on these gaming episodes, people were a lot easier to give out high ratings way back in the day, because this version, the Genesis, saw between 80% and 100%, while the SNES saw ratings as low as 70 and up to 100.
Well, I mean, yeah, back in those days, below 50, it's this is unplayable, just avoid it at all costs. Whereas now 50 is it's all right.
It might be my favorite Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 2 came out in 1993, so it came out in arcades as soon as they released the home version, basically.
Keeping
Months
the
apart.
arcade one up.
Yeah, the first few games, it's all arcade first.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ed Boon says Mortal Kombat 2 was intended to look different than Mortal Kombat, and he had everything he wanted to put into Mortal Kombat, but didn't have time for Mortal Kombat 2.
Cool.
This is probably the one I played the most. The theme and art style for Mortal Kombat 2 were a lot darker than the first one, even though it had a more vibrant color palette. And it used a lot more colors, like a lot more acid, I think.
Yeah, well, and I'm guessing they just got more comfortable with things.
So they took care in programming the game to give it a good feel, because Boon wanted you actually to feel gravity more in this game.
Okay.
Which I definitely remember not liking the first one because it was so floaty.
Yeah, well, and like you said, the juggling thing. Air juggles suck.
Yeah, and actually, juggling was something they wanted to fix because it was kind of an accident.
Oh, shit.
So the gravity helped make Mortal Kombat 2 feel tighter.
Nice.
And Boon said that the reason to not completely remove it for favor of a different system of chaining attacks was to set the game apart from the competing titles like Street Fighter, and then you could allow players to devise their own combinations.
That makes sense.
And this game marked the introduction of multiple fatalities, as well as non-lethal finishing moves. There was babyalities, where you would turn your opponent into a crying baby. There was friendships, where you would like dance or give them a gift, and they would just be like, "Oh, stunned." More lethal was the stage-specific fatalities, where you could knock your opponent off a bridge into a chasm, or uppercut them into a spike ceiling, or knock them back into a pool of acid.
Cool stuff.
And as in the first Mortal Kombat game, this Mortal Kombat 2 became a big deal with controversy regarding violent video games.
Yeah, I would think so.
One journalist wrote, "An army of critics of people too upset by the bone-crunching, blood-spurting, limb-ripping violence depicted on the small screen." And IGN said Mortal Kombat 2 wore its notoriety as a badge of honor, boasting it in promotional materials and even parodying it in the game. Sort of like Dead Space. Dead Space did that.
Did they?
They had they had the mom sit and watch gameplay footage.
I don't remember that. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was a big campaign they had where it was like, this is the game your son worked on. Oh, I love my son. Blah, blah, blah. He's so talented. Then it's like,
it's like, oh no,
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, basically. If you haven't learned by us talking about gaming very much, this was banned in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
The Federal Department of Media, harmful to young persons, banned all versions of the game except for the Game Boy version.
Yeah, because it's like 2 pixels going at it. You can't see anything.
The game was being confiscated from the market for violating the German penal code by showing excessive violence and cruel acts against representations of human beings.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're not wrong. It's kind of exactly what it is.
Yeah, they ban a lot of games still for basically it's an immediate ban on a game if you killing people is less of a plot point and more of a direct correlation to points.
Oh.
So, I'm pretty sure Dead Rising, but maybe Zombies get by. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And also, due to regional censorship, the game was released with green-colored blood.
Oh, that's the one.
And black and white fatality sequences in Japan, actually.
What? Just like grayscale animations?
On the fatalities.
Why?
Which is extremely interesting, because that's a Western game being censored in Japan and not the other way around.
Well, I can kind of see that though, because Japan is like, yeah, sure, sex is okay, that's natural, but killing people not so cool.
Yeah.
Versus the American attitude of like, yay, killing, but you boobs, get out of here.
Yeah. Later, Boon recalled, "I've always had the position that the rating system was a good idea and should be put in place. Once Mortal Kombat 2 came out, there was a rating system in place. We were an M-rated game, and everybody knew the content that was there, so it became almost a non-issue."
Yeah, it's like, they know what they are, and they are wearing it proudly, and it's like, yeah, if you buy this, you know what you're getting into.
The character animations in this game, the actors were placed in front of a gray background, performed their actions, and they were recorded on a videotape, which was of broadcast quality.
Oh.
A $20,000 Sony camera is what they reported.
That's a bit of an upgrade.
And the actors were lightly sprayed with water to give them a sweaty, glistening appearance. Not
Gross.
Experience.
Well, that too, I guess.
Yeah. And post-editing with the sprites, they highlighted flesh tones and other stuff to make the muscles pop. Tobias, the second guy that... The opposite to Ed Boon, felt that this set the series apart from similar games that used straight-up digital graphics.
It definitely did. Like, it looked completely different from, like, if you look at Street Fighter and how cartoonish some of the characters look. And then Mortal Kombat is like, yeah, that is recognizably Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Quotation fingers. Because they were mad they couldn't make a game with him, so they made a parody of him.
It could have fooled me easily. They did a great job. And wasn't he in the Mortal Kombat? No, he was in the Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, okay.
So they had animations of Shang Tsung morphing into other characters, and John Vogel of Midway made these animations with his computer, while they used hand-drawn animations for other things like fatalities.
Ooh.
So Goro and Kintaro, which are monsters, clay sculptures that Tobias's friend Kurt made. 12-inch latex miniatures used, and they did stop motion. So it'd be cool if those still existed. He's got to have it in his office.
Yeah, well, I mean, back in those days, you wouldn't think to save a lot of it because you don't know if it's going to take off.
I guess.
So it'd be interesting because if they do exist, they'd be worth a hell of a lot of money.
So because of technical restrictions, the actors' costumes had to be simple, so they couldn't really do acrobatic moves like backflips.
Yeah.
And the hardest moves to perform were the jumping kicks.
Yeah, no doubt.
This game had 19 characters, 12 playable, 2 bosses, 3 NPCs, and 2 characters snuck into the background.
I'm just thinking, this is kind of the original motion capture. Like, before you get the suits covered in ping pong balls.
Yeah.
Like, this was the first.
And it takes till the way at the end of this episode where they actually start using motion capture again.
Yeah.
But with the ping pong balls. So you could play as Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Raiden, SubZero, Scorpion, Shang Tsung, and Reptile from the old game. Reptile's now playable.
Ooh.
And now they added Baraka, Jackson, Jax, Briggs, Kitana, Kung Lao, and Melina, the lady ninjas.
Jax.
Oh yeah, Jax is cool. Their bosses are Kintaro and Shao Kahn.
Ooh.
There's secret NPCs in the game. Jade, who's just a palette swap of Kitana and Melina, and 2 palette swaps of SubZero. There was Noob Saibot and Smoke. Noob Saibot is the creator's names backwards. It's Boon and Tobias.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
I can never unsee it. And featured in the background are Sonya and Kano.
Nice.
They had memory limitations with the cartridge and like with the arcade, so they just decided they weren't picked very often, so they made them background characters.
Oh, so you can't actually play as them, but they exist in the universe?
Yeah, and they felt it was more interesting to have Melina and Reptile.
Yeah, I could see that.
So when they released the game, 4 versions of the cartridge-based console, like the Genesis, the Game Gear, the SNES, and the Game Boy, and they called it Mortal Friday, because that's... I don't know. And they sold an unprecedented 2.5 million copies.
Wow.
And
that's not a lot by today's standards, but still, that's huge.
Well, it made it the best opening week for sales in a video game up to that point in history. So I found an interesting fun fact where the first week of sales were over $50 million.
Oh,
and that surpassed the initial box office results of that season's Hollywood film blockbusters.
Oh, shit.
So, 1993, what were the blockbusters?
Oh,
It beat Forrest Gump, True Lies, The Mask, and The Lion King.
Holy crap, that's a lot of very popular movies still to this day.
Yeah. And it didn't beat them combined, but it beat them all individually.
It beat The Mask?
Yeah, The Mask. That's the one you pull. it was the best-selling video game until it was beaten by Donkey Kong Country in November 1994.
Wow.
The reviews just blew Mortal Kombat 1 out of the water, most of them being 100%.
Wow.
Like there was some 80s and 90s, but when I looked at the reviews, mostly 100.
Yeah, well, it was a really good game and a good growth on the original concept.
Yeah, my favorite. Probably because Reptile was playable right off the bat. Mortal Kombat 3 came out in 1995. The whole style of the game was made different in this one.
Oh, yeah?
They replaced a lot of the Oriental themes with more of a Western contemporary theme.
Okay.
So stages are set in modern locations like highways, churches, and bank rooftops. And now 3 of the characters are cyborgs. And some of the traditional character designs were modified to sort of fit this new motif.
Okay.
The game had a different tone overall. It was noticeably more muted and less vibrant for the colors. And characters were heavily digitized. The backgrounds were pre-rendered 3D graphics. So, Mortal Kombat 3 builds up on the gameplay from before. They added a run button.
Oh, fancy.
And they basically were trying to address that they felt like the defender had too easy of a going time. Because you could just jump back and stuff, but...
Just make it easier to press the attack. That makes sense.
Yeah. They added chain combos, or you could also call it a dial-a combo, where there was a certain button sequence you could enter, and your character would initiate a combo that can't be interrupted once it connected with a first hit.
Oh, okay. And
then some combos ended with an uppercut, so you could do your own combo after.
Cool.
I never got the hang of this. I never had the 6-button Genesis controller. I only had the 3-button.
I never had a Genesis.
I only had hand-me-down Genesis. So now, characters were able to interact a little bit with the level. If you're in the subway, you could uppercut someone through the ceiling, and then you'd fight on the street.
Cool.
You could be in a bank and fight on the rooftop sort of thing, because of the totally 3D rendered backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
And all the finishing moves are here, including the babyality and friendships.
Yay.
They added animality.
Oh, animality, yeah.
Animality. Oh, that does not roll off the tongue. You transform into an animal to kill your opponent. I remember the computer turning into a dragon as Liu Kang and eating me all the time.
Oh yeah, the Liu Kang dragon thing. Big deal.
So they also added a mercy, where the character would just let their opponent live.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Then it's not very mortal then, is it?
Well, you have to do a mercy first to have an animality come in second for whatever reason.
Well, that's just mean. You're just taunting me like, I'll let you live until I want to eat you.
So I can, yeah. More stage fatalities were added with the subway, the bell tower, and the pit 3.
Ooh.
And they introduced a new concept called combat code, which I always found confusing.
What is it?
A combat code is a 6-symbol code that you would enter during the versus screen in a 2-player game, and it would modify the gameplay. It would also allow you fight hidden characters or display text messages.
Okay, so it's a cheat code menu.
Kind of, but when it's loading the game, there's your character facing their character, and then just a 6-symbol thing you could change.
Huh.
So,
weird.
The codes, they revealed it through gaming magazines and other promotional stuff for Mortal Kombat.
Usual.
So there's 17 characters. Returning are Jax, Kano, Kung Lao, Liu Kang, Sonya, SubZero, Shang Tsung, Smoke, this time as an indigo cyborg instead of a gray ninja.
Oh.
And new are Cyrax, Cabal, Nightwolf, Sector, Sindel, Shiva, and Striker. I remember liking the cyborgs and Nightwolf a lot.
Cool.
So the 2 bosses, Montaro and Shao Kahn, were unplayable unless you had a Genesis or a SNES. Then you could enter a cheat code and play them.
Nice.
There's a huge promotion campaign for this, and it won the Guinness World Records Gamer Edition of 2011 for the largest promotional campaign for a fighting game.
Wow.
So that was in 1995 too. So it was also a recipient of the American Amusement Machine Association's Diamond Awards, which was strictly sales. They sold enough and got an award.
So what was the massive advertising thing? Are there any details on like what they did?
I assume just no interesting stuff that I didn't get. They didn't have like cosplayers doing fights in the streets, which would have been what I wanted to see.
That would have been really before its time, though.
Oh yeah, but the wiki did have a few pictures of cosplayers from the promotion. So even though it was commercially successful, it was less appealing with the new characters. Apparently, people didn't like them. Because people blame Stryker for taking Scorpion out of the game. Scorpion was not in this game.
Oh, that's weird. He's like their mascot now.
Yeah. A lot of criticism for features. Like, it was ported to PC. A PC gamer said, while Mortal Kombat 2 managed to improve on the fast-paced gore galore formula of the original, the third incarnation didn't fare nearly as well. Mortal Kombat 3 suffered from monkey-wrenched gameplay, needlessly stupid finishing moves like animalities, and unbearably campy character designs.
Oh, jeez.
Looking through it, the reviews ranged between 70% and 80%.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, but now when I look back at reviews, when it's like that, I do dampen it, because sort of like inflation, we got a lot more strict with our reviews.
Yeah, true.
So in 95, they released Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh.
So it brought back some popular characters that were missing from the first one.
Oh, so they're like, shit, okay, let's fix that.
Yeah. So from the beginning, added to the menu are Jade, Katana, Reptile, and Scorpion.
Finally.
And you could unlock with the combat codes a classic-looking SubZero, Ermac, and Melina.
Ooh.
And if you entered a code before a match, you could play Smoke as his human form.
Oh, crazy.
They added a new difficulty. Wow, I could not even think of a harder Mortal Kombat. They reintroduced endurance matches. Shang Tsung's transformations. They added a announcement of who he's changing into, so it'd be like SubZero.
Oh, cool.
And then they introduced a thing called Shao Kahn's Lost Treasures, where after you played the main game or completed an 8-player tournament, it would be a random gift of like cutscenes, extra fights, little things to earn for the game.
Neat.
Various updates to character moves and the AI, like minor changes to the backgrounds too. Like they would add, like Cyrax is like in the desert in one of them. After reviewing the arcade version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, a next-generation critic expressed concern that Mortal Kombat series was headed for the same rut Street Fighter had fallen into, which is unnecessary updates of the same game replaced new installments. He remarked that even the biggest change the game made, the 4 new characters, was rendered uninteresting by their recycling of the graphic sets of previous characters. However, he added, to be fair, there is none of the Mortal Kombat quality, detail, or gameplay missing. Just about everything you want is there. So
yeah, so he's complaining that it's more of the same-ish goodness.
Yeah, where back then people, I assume, bought less games.
Yeah, well, they were way more expensive back then too.
Yeah, and Ed Boon said that Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 was his favorite Mortal Kombat arcade.
Nice.
Yeah. And then this next generation critic sort of rings true with the Mortal Kombat trilogy coming out in 96.
So this is just the same games, but on console again?
Yep.
Huh.
But they added the aggressor bar.
Oh.
So it fills as you fight, and if your opponent's blocking, it fills twice as fast. And once this aggressor bar is filled, the aggressor bar is literally the words aggressor that slowly get revealed.
Okay.
So once it's full, you can trigger it, and then it drains, and you get more damage. You get faster, so you can just keep beating them down.
So it's just it stops people from being passive and blocking and dodging.
They added a new fatality called Brutality, where after an 11-button combo, you would punch your opponent into tiny bits. They'd just explode.
They made a harder version of those fatalities that you could never do.
I know.
I've never actually performed a fatality ever. I can't. Like, I had on paper in front of me at the time, and I couldn't figure out how to do it.
There was only one I could do consistently, and it was Johnny Cage's uppercut their head off.
Neat.
Because you would like walk forward, crouch, and then do like a down and roll your thumb on the thumb pad, and then do uppercut.
Shoryuken.
Yeah, I think sort of like that. Many of the characters had extra special moves and finishing moves. So basically, unused special moves they weren't able to implement earlier. They added it to Mortal Kombat Trilogy. The thing is, like, this game sort of wrapped up all the levels and stuff, all the levels and characters from the first 3.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
The Pit 2 didn't have its fatality because no Mortal Kombat 3 characters had that unique sprite for falling off the bridge. So that would have annoyed me if I was good at knocking people off the Pit 2.
Yeah, but it kind of makes sense. Otherwise, they'd have to go back and basically just redo the sprites from scratch. It sucks.
Yeah. So Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3's roster is basically they added Raiden and Baraka and called it Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Welp. And also, I guess, like, all the maps and stuff, but...
And they also brought in Johnny Cage, which was dead in the story. He has all his moves from Mortal Kombat 2, except for the split punch where he does the splits, because they didn't program reactions to characters being punched in the nuts. Yeah. So they were like, we'll just take that move away from him.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Goro, Kintaro, Motaro, and Shao Kahn were playable. If you had the N64, you could get them through a cheat menu. Ooh, except for the Nintendo 64, where you could only play Motaro and Shao Kahn.
Oh, that's the opposite of what you said.
Yeah. Whoops. The PC and PlayStation and Sega Saturn versions had alternate versions of Jax, Kung Lao, Kano, and Raiden, like they appeared in the first 2 games, not like 3. And they added a new character called Chameleon. Chameleon looks like the male ninjas, but he rapidly switches colors, and whichever color he's at the moment is what ninja you're fighting as.
Oh, that sounds weird and maybe fun?
Yeah, so he would change between SubZero, Scorpion, Noob Saibot, Human Smoke, Rain, Reptile, Ermac.
Huh.
Like, wow. And, see, Rain's in my notes, but I don't even have him showing up anywhere. Maybe he's a secret character.
Oh, maybe.
So the N64 version did not have Chameleon. They had Chameleon with a KH.
Oh,
which was a female ninja that switched between the female ninjas.
Why different?
I don't know.
That sounds like a really dumb thing to have different.
So, for the trilogy, they actually redid a bunch of the sprites. It must be its own game, Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Yeah.
So, a bunch of actors left over contract disputes.
Oh, that sucks.
So, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, Sonya, Katana, Melina, Jade, the same person, Johnny Cage, and then the same person for SubZero, Scorpion, Reptile, Smoke were new actors. And sort of like the other Mortal Kombats, this was a big success commercially. The game was praised for having every character from previous Mortal Kombat games and adding new content. That Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 was criticized. It added more from Mortal Kombat 3, but was sort of criticized for other aspects, like how different the game was between platforms. They didn't like that. The N64 version is a, quotation, particularly horrible game.
Oh no.
In comparison to the 32-bit console version, according to Forbes.
Yeah, because that's where you get your video game reviews, apparently.
Yeah, that's Wiki. All my notes are on Patreon. But it was honored in the Nintendo Power Awards of 96, and coming second in the category Best Tournament Fighting Game.
Wow.
GamePro was also very positive for the 64, and they gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Most other reviews I found between 50% and 85%.
That's a fair range.
Yeah. But I think the 50 was for the 64 version.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Did you play any Mortal Kombat offshoots?
Define offshoot.
How about Mortal Kombat Mythologies SubZero?
Oh, yeah, I played the hell out of that one.
Yeah, 1997.
That was GameCube, right? I know there was a SubZero game that I played. I thought it might have been GameCube or N64. I can't remember.
This is PlayStation.
Oh, okay, then not the one I'm thinking of.
So it featured a sneak preview of Mortal Kombat 4.
Oh, fancy.
And this is the first Mortal Kombat game to have side-scrolling gameplay, because it was an action-adventure game with some platforming elements.
Weird.
So they gave it 4 attack buttons, where there was also a block and a run button, sort of like Mortal Kombat 3. The player controls SubZero, as they would in the fighting game, but you use command-based special moves, and you fight enemies and venture through the levels. They added a turn button, so you actually had to push a button to make your character turn left and right.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, and the action button is used to pick up items, or use them.
Okay, I don't think I played this one.
The player also has access to a status screen where you could keep track of your inventory experience points, basically basic adventure game stuff.
Yeah.
It received mostly negative reviews. IGN stated, "It may have been a good idea on paper, but as a game, it's terrible."
It's the Zelda 2 of the series.
And Next Generation gave the PS1 version a 1 out of 5.
Ooh, brutal.
GameSpot, this one guy, Jeff, gave it praise, saying, "Mythologies is a pretty amazing meld of fighting and platform jumping, and is sure to please the fans of Mortal Kombat and platform games alike," which does not line up with anything else I've researched on it.
Yeah, that sounds like that dude was getting some money under the table or something.
Oh, yeah. The N64 version got a 4.9 out of 10, so maybe you played it on 64?
I don't think so.
They also said, "This one is only for the hardcore Mortal Kombat fans who don't already own PlayStations."
Yeah.
And Midway had planned Mythologies would be a series, but after the reviews of this, they canceled it.
Yeah, I can see why.
So Mortal Kombat 4 is where I was off the boat hard. I was like done with Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
But a lot of people liked it, so that's just my preference. I also never owned a PlayStation, so it was always me having to learn what the controller is while getting beat down.
Fair enough.
Never a good experience.
Yeah.
Ed Boon found it difficult to lead this development team because it was much larger than what he was used to from the beginning.
Okay.
So they added Todd Allen and Mike Boon, Ed's little brother, as programmers to help him, because it's more than twice the original size for their staffing.
Oh, shit.
The Midway staff wanted to remove the comical elements from the previous Mortal Kombat games, so they focused on making fatalities. But on the other hand, the animality finishing moves from Mortal Kombat 3 were removed, since transformations of the characters into animals was considered hard to make in 3D graphics.
Well, it's difficult and not for a lot of payoff, because it's not like a gameplay element, it's just a finisher.
Yeah. So to make fatalities more exciting and more entertaining, they made the fatalities replay from different camera angles. Since they weren't using actors, they were using 3D models.
That makes sense.
And the staff found it easier to make fatalities with computer animation.
Yeah, no shit.
This game introduced a limited weapon system, and your character could take out a special weapon.
Fancy.
Once you had it, you could swing, club, or toss your weapon. I don't know why club's in there, probably for non-swords.
Yeah.
And also, you could drop your weapon or pick up heads and rocks from the ground and throw them or club your opponent with them.
Oh, exciting.
You could sidestep, so it would shift the camera a little bit, preventing characters from... Or you could then pick up weapons from the ground and stuff, just by maneuvering around.
So it kind of Soul Calibur-ish 3DS.
Yeah. They added a maximum damage cap to the combo system to sort of save people from being juggled to death.
Just infinite combo to death, yeah.
And automatically breaking combos if they deal over a set amount of damage to prevent those.
I hope that they put a switch on that because, I mean...
They added a cheat code that would remove that cap.
Yeah, because like if you're good enough to pull off an infinite combo, you've earned it.
Yeah. So unlike Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which had a bunch of finishing moves, Mortal Kombat 4 has only 2 fatalities per character, and the stage fatalities can only be done in certain arenas, but it would be like you use like the wall to kill them or something. So it doesn't have any playable boss characters except for Goro in the home version. They added new characters. Wow, I don't want to have to read all those. I was like, maybe reading all these would get too long.
They added a bunch of characters. See the notes if you're on Patreon, and if you're not on our Patreon, get on our Patreon and see the notes.
Yeah, worked really hard on it, and when it comes to reading, we're at 46 minutes, and I'm like, wow, we are halfway.
Jesus.
Positive reviews, except for the Game Boy Color port. Why would they port it to Game Boy Color?
Oh my god. Why do they keep putting it on Game Boy?
I don't know. So 70 to 80%, usually high 80s for console and stuff. Mm-hmm. The Game Boy Color got about 40%.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And a real quick one here, Mortal Kombat Gold in 1999.
Oh, fancy.
This was exclusive to the Sega Dreamcast as a launch title. It's an updated version of Mortal Kombat 4, and it was their first 6th generation platform, as well as the only game to be released to the Dreamcast under the Mortal Kombat name.
Huh, weird.
Critical reaction was mostly due to inferior graphics to the arcade version. Ouch. And the weapons seemed boring and useless, and there was game-breaking bugs.
Oh, Jesus.
So they released a second version and called it Mortal Kombat Gold Hot and New. Hot New Mortal Kombat Gold, I think. And they released it a month after the initial release of Mortal Kombat Gold. It fixed many bugs, as well as one bug that allowed it to be saved to the VMU memory card. You couldn't save it.
Wait, so they released a fixed version that you could not save.
The fixed version could save. The original version could not. On the memory cards with the screen.
Yeah, that's brutal. Which
Which was the coolest feature.
It was really cool. I'm sad that it never really took off with any other console.
And a new character, Belloc, he was going to be released with Mortal Kombat Gold, but they decided to cut him from the final release of the game. And according to Ed Boon, he was removed from the game because the developers didn't have time.
Fair enough.
The company that made this version, Eurocom, accidentally sent information about the game with Belloc to Game Informer, and as a result, 6 screenshots of him were leaked in a publication.
Oh, shit.
But he was never released. So I'd be pissed off if I bought a game and didn't see the character anywhere.
I mean, if you're talking about leaks, then you can't really expect all the leaks to make it into the final product.
Well, it wasn't
just not fair to the developer.
It was a special request for the preview they sent to Game Informer.
Oh, so it was the company actually saying, like, here is promotional art.
Yeah, they sent,
okay.
I believe so. They sent a press package. So, if that wasn't bad enough, the story was the exact same as Mortal Kombat 4, and the official strategy guide had misprinted bios for 6 new characters
Ouch.
that were unused in previous versions, and it caused a lot of confusion.
No doubt.
People rated it between 50% and 60%.
Well, I mean, it's better than that SubZero game.
But do you know what's worse than that SubZero game?
What?
Mortal Kombat Special Forces in the year 2000.
Oh no, that already sounds awful.
It's the second game developed by Midway that was a platformer, less of a fighting game. So after sort of testing out with the Mortal Kombat mythology SubZero, John Tobias intended to work on a series of platform games that would expand on the Mortal Kombat universe. They also wanted to make a game about Baraka and Liu Kang, and the Liu Kang one eventually did come out. But Special Forces only released on PlayStation, and it was supposed to be released on the 64 and the Dreamcast. That was revealed in an interview with John Tobias. Many of the Midway game staff, including Tobias, left the company in 1999 for various reasons while the game was in production.
Oh, jeez.
The plot of the Special Forces, which originally was with Sonya, was revised after Tobias left the game, and then it was rushed to completion. You play as you play as Jax in this game.
Well, that kind of makes sense. He's another cop dude.
Yeah. Ed Boon later said, "I didn't work on Special Forces. The game and project were riddled with all kinds of problems. I could write a book on that." Which I'd read.
It would have been interesting to see a Mortal Kombat game starring Sonya, like kind of get the female ball out there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jax is cool too, I guess.
Yeah, and of all the Mortal Kombat games, Special Forces is considered by many to be the worst.
Oh no.
As of 2014, Metacritic gave it a 28 out of 100.
Oh no. Why didn't they just let Sonya star in the game?
A 2.1 out of 10 from GameSpot, and a 3 out of 10 from IGN.
Maybe Sonya could have saved it, but no, they had to put in Jax.
Yeah, the sales were so low that Midway placed the whole series on hold so they could put all their focus on the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
Oh jeez.
Ed Boon said, "The game had a pretty bumpy development ride, and the game didn't turn out very good at all."
Apparently.
So in 2011, Games Radar ranked it the second most absurd Mortal Kombat offshoot.
Oh, the second?
Yep. Only behind the Mortal Kombat live tour, which was, yes, a stage play featuring Mortal Kombat characters.
You broke me, Josh. I'm dead. What? What?
It featured like mostly Jax and Sonya. And Baraka too.
What?
I looked into live tour because I'm like, it's gotta be about like Raiden and Scorpion and SubZero. Nope. It's not.
Oh my god. What? No, what? Why? What? Why?
In 2013, Games Radar also ranked it the 41st worst game ever made.
But it's not a game, it's a play?
Well, no, that's about Special Forces.
Oh, okay. We're back to the...
Yeah.
Oh, god.
Yeah. Oh, man, we just gotta move on.
Oh. Oh, no.
At this, I can't even touch the movies.
Oh, the movies are good. I
I
like the movies. Mortal Kombat Annihilation was like a favorite growing up.
Really? Don't
Yeah.
watch it again. I've watched it in my adult years. Don't watch it again.
Oh god, no. I'm not going to touch it ever again. Those rose-colored glasses are staying firmly on. Thank you very much.
So, 2002, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. So it was a all-new Mortal Kombat fighting game made exclusively for home consoles.
Fancy.
Despite how successful Mortal Kombat 4 was, the series began to suffer from overexposure in the late 90s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just made a bunch of failed, mediocre projects. Because, like, there was also a animated series called Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm that only had one season in 1996.
What?
And then in 1997 was Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah.
Because the sequel, the prequel, the previous movie, 95, did very well, but Annihilation underperformed in theaters.
I don't think I ever saw the first one. I just kept seeing Annihilation on like TV, like TV movies.
And the live-action series Mortal Kombat Conquest only lasted for one season in 98.
What? Why? No. Why?
It had strong ratings, apparently.
Why do they keep doing this?
Yeah.
The play and a late 90s cartoon Defenders of the live action and... Oh, no.
All that stuff that was sort of leading it down a road of, ooh, maybe Mortal Kombat sucks.
Yeah.
Basically, the death nail for that string was the Special Forces that came out in 2000.
Wait, they did Special Forces again?
No, like, the TV show was 96.
Oh, I gotcha.
The second movie was 97, the TV show was 98, and then Special Forces was 2000.
Gotcha.
So it sort of had Midway put the franchise on hold to work on this game because they were like, it's got to be good.
Yeah.
So the gameplay, completely different from previous entries because each character has 3 fighting styles, 2 generally hand-to-hand and 1 weapon, except for a few characters that had 3 hand-to-hand styles. And
was this one released on GameCube?
I believe so.
This might be the one I was thinking of. Then.
Yeah, because I think the Deadly Alliance is someone and SubZero.
Yeah, and because the main thing I remember is as SubZero, you could summon like these ice weapons and then stab them into someone and just have them bleed.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, their health bar would just be ticking down while you're just punching them with your other fighting styles.
So besides like the dialogue combos, the characters fought pretty much the same. There was a number of special moves that were reduced, usually 2 to 4 for each character.
Oh, okay.
But it made you use the improved fighting system more and rely less on the special abilities.
Cool.
There was no more running. They took away the run meter.
Oh.
You were limited to moving into the background and foreground, and there was movement in the 3rd dimension much easier than Mortal Kombat 4 sidestepping. And
that makes sense.
They put you in a ring to avoid people leaving the area. And a barrier would appear when you hit the edge. The character models became more realistic. They noted flesh will move or jiggle on a character as he or she moves around.
Of course they throw jiggle in there.
There was environmental hazards, but less frequent. Like pillars or statues, which you could break while you're fighting or knocking people into them.
Cool.
There's only 1 fatality per character. They introduced the Conquest mode, which has a storyline and is sort of a tutorial for each character.
Cool.
Yeah, because you would do combat tasks with SubZero, and then you'd be instructed to do specific things. That
does ring a bell.
So a basic storyline for each character to sort of give you a little more depth on everything. The characters Blaze and Mocap can be unlocked during the Conquest, and Mocap's sort of the friend of Johnny Cage, and it's making fun of motion capture Mocap.
Yeah.
They added a crypt, which is 676 locked coffins that you would have to earn money and unlock. And the coffins were filled with sometimes more coins, secrets, unlockables, and sometimes nothing.
Yeah, this was definitely the game I was thinking of. I remember those goddamn coffins.
The Test Your Might game came back, but they also added Test Your Sight, which is basically the shell game.
Yep. It was. I mean, I'm pretty good at those, so it wasn't that hard. But
no,
it was kind of whatever.
Yeah, test your sight.
I'm like, oh, okay, this is Mortal Kombat. How exactly now?
Yeah. It's noted for being the only game in the main series that does not feature Liu Kang as a playable character.
Oh, I guess he wasn't.
Huh. But he did appear with Shao Kahn in the opening video, so he makes an appearance, but he's not playable.
Yeah, the story was some big deal with him and Shao Kahn and something. Man, it's been a long time.
So basically, this rejuvenated the series somewhat.
It was fun.
Jeremy Dunham of IGN praised the game for reinventing the Mortal Kombat formula, pointing specifically to Ed Boon's implementation of the true three-dimensional fighting, entirely different fighting styles, and a deeper, more intuitive combat system. So it got scores between 80 and 90%.
Nice, bringing the series up.
Yeah. Really quick one, 2003, Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. It was a Game Boy Advance only Mortal Kombat.
Oh no.
Adds survival, tag team, and practice, as well as fatalities to Mortal Kombat 4, I think.
How is it a Tournament Edition if it's on a platform that you can't play tournament games on?
Well, it's a 2D sprites and a 3D style gameplay.
Ugh. Oh.
So, 2004, Mortal Kombat Deception.
Oh.
Ed Boon wanted Deception to be unpredictable and gave new features that they could never imagine.
Oh, exciting.
So, in order to do this, they listened to fans on online boards to see what they needed to do with, like, characters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to surprise fans, so they made the game deeper, and they added puzzles and a chess minigame.
Okay.
So they wanted to put the chess minigame in Deadly Alliance, but they didn't have the time to implement it. So came out in Deception.
Mortal Kombat is it like battle chess where like you take a piece and they fight? Or
I think so.
That'd be kind of cool.
So Boon and this new guy, John, supervised the staff, which was developed into different teams. One concern was they wanted to make sure it felt like a Mortal Kombat game. But they wanted to make the fighting more realistic, but they didn't want it to be just a fighting simulator. They wanted it to be a Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a brand, so...
Yeah. The appearances were improved, and they made the moves more responsive to your inputs, so...
Cool.
Sounds like one I should have played. They brought back several characters that were gone for too long. They brought back Sindel, Nightwolf, Baraka, and Melina.
Sindel, finally. Who's Sindel?
Sindel is the wife of... damn it, what's his name? Shao Kahn?
Shao Kahn?
Yeah. She's the one that... One of her fatalities was she'd scream your skin off. And,
oh, okay, I know that one then. Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, and I also really liked Nightwolf. He was the Native American with the tomahawks.
I don't know who that is.
He was cool. He was. I played him a lot in 3.
Cool.
Character combos redesigned to be more distinctive. Midway staff focused on the designs and functions of the backgrounds because they wanted it more influential for the battle. Because they wanted it to feel more like the environment's affected by you.
Yeah, instead of just like, fight on this backdrop.
Because of the demand from Deadly Alliance, the fatalities were increased to 2 per character.
Oh, daring.
And they implemented a Harikiri move, which allowed the users to perform a finishing move on themselves before the opponent could kill them.
What?
You could perform Harikiri before your opponent could input their fatality.
So you're just like, I'm not giving you the satisfaction.
Yeah.
Okay,
And,
I guess that's the ultimate, I'm taking my ball and going home.
So they really focused on online gameplay, which was pretty common for console games up to this point. Well, for this generation. A team of engineers took almost a year to see if it was even possible for Mortal Kombat to do this. And the Mortal Kombat team focused on platforms that had strong online, and that led to a greater focus on the PS2 and the Xbox.
Makes sense.
But the GameCube games required a lot of re-engineering, so they just decided to not do a GameCube version, and it sped things up.
What? Nintendo causes problems and doesn't have good online?
Yeah.
That's not happening right now.
Yeah, the GameCube got a version of it later, but Boon always said he was disappointed that the GameCube didn't feature online gameplay. because he regarded Mortal Kombat's online as the best in the business.
Although, I mean, PS2 barely had online to begin with, so...
Yeah, and the Xbox was...
Well, the Xbox had built-in stuff. The PS2, you had to, like, bolt on a modem.
Yep, in that open gap in the back? I don't know.
Yeah,
never had one.
Like that.
The Crypt returned. They changed the interface a little bit and reduced the amount of coffins from 676 down to 400.
Oh, that's a weird number.
And they added coffins with locks that you had to get keys in the Conquest mode to unlock.
Brutal.
Yeah. 12 bonus characters, which there was only 6 in the GameCube version. It had a role-playing sort of thing, sort of like... it was the Conquest mode that sort of was in Deception.
Oh, yeah.
But just remade for this. Deception, when it originally came out, sold 1 million units, which surpassed their previous Mortal Kombat title and became the fastest-selling game in Midway's history.
Wow.
The reviews for the versions were between 50% and 80%, but the GameCube version had reviews as low as 40%.
Ooh, ouch.
So in 2005, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks came out, and that's...
I think that was another fun one that I played.
Yeah, this one actually has a lot of good... there's whispers of an HD remake on this one.
Oh, so an HD remake 12 years ago.
Yeah. Spin-off game starring Liu Kang and Kung Lao, I believe. It was going to be made right after Special Forces, but after Special Forces tanked, they shelved it.
Yeah, understandably so.
In 2004, the president of Midway called for the release of Shaolin Monks to be the first step toward delivering something that Mortal Kombat fans have been calling for, a new game set in the Mortal Kombat universe every year.
Oh, Jesus. Don't make it a yearly franchise.
Yeah, and they wanted to make it like have a deeper story, and the team were fans of adventure games and wanted to follow that direction, and the Mortal Kombat creator worked as the creative director for Shaolin Monks and joined programmers to help make the fight engine. That must have been Boon.
Yeah, cool.
They wanted to make it less... they wanted this multi-directional fighting engine to feel less like a button smasher and more like you were doing things.
Okay.
There was a sequel they thought of making with Scorpion and SubZero called Mortal Kombat Fire and Ice, but it was supposed to be made by this company called Paradox, but financial constraint caused the project to be canceled.
Also, I think Trojan got there first.
Trojan?
Or Durex?
Oh, Fire... Yeah, they had those condoms. Ed Boon said, Monks was far and away the best spin-off. We are in talks to do a sequel before the Moore Park studio closed, which must have been the Paradox team.
Yeah.
It got around 80% in reviews.
Oh, damn.
Here we are at near the end. We are 2/3 through.
Oh, gee, that's not near the end, you liar.
Mortal Kombat Armageddon 2006 featured every single character.
Oh, shit.
So Chameleon, with a KH, was in the 64 version. She was not in the Xbox and PlayStation version of Armageddon, but was in the Wii version due to fan demand.
Sorry, they made a Wii Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Oh, did it have motion controls?
Oh, you want me to tell you about the motion controls?
I don't, but I do. This sounds awful.
There was no big details about it. It might come up in a bit.
Okay.
The Crypt in Armageddon sort of had a video for Ermac's biography, so you could finally learn a little bit more, because Ermac is a joke.
Yeah.
Error or something. So they thought the biographies would have been created for a bunch of more things, but they couldn't do everything because of time, which is almost how it always goes.
Yeah, that's game development.
Midway through their fan site Mortal Kombat Online confirmed that none have been created for biographies. A month later, Ed Boon confirmed that biographies would be made available on the Armageddon website. Woo!
Oh.
So they released a biography and like trickled and fed everyone with breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
They eventually released a premium edition in North America for PS2, which had a steelbook case and a 60-minute DVD with a 60-minute documentary called A History of Fatalities. And an animation cell of the cover art autographed by Ed Boon.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It also had an arcade-perfect version of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh, wow.
So that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Wii version of Armageddon has the new motion-based control system, along with compatibility of the classic and GameCube controllers. How did that work?
Well, you could just plug in
the
classic
Wii
controllers.
Yeah, the Wii had yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, like the Wii, you could just plug in GameCube controllers. You didn't need no adapters or anything like you did with Wii U.
So the Wii version had a new endurance mode, a Wii remote training mode, new menus, and Chameleon with a KH as a playable character, but no online.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Characters have 2 fighting styles and a weapon. They had a create a fatality in this.
Weird.
Yeah, you can program the commands and stuff so you can do your own fatalities.
I wonder if blood was still green. Blue.
Oh,
something.
Yeah, in the Wii? Who knows?
Yeah.
I've never played it on Wii, so. If you played it on Wii, let us know. What color was the sweat?
Also, why? Let us know why, please.
So, with over 60 characters being in the game, you could still make a character.
Oh,
so
weird.
That's kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah.
You can give your character a new fight, like a different fighting style by changing their stance. You can change their stance or their win pose. Basically, character customization.
Do not steal.
It added motor combat.
I'm sorry, what?
Ed Boon compared it to Mario Kart.
What?
Each character has a customized go-kart as well as their own special moves. The motor combat characters had their cartoonish, super deformed style that was introduced in Deception's puzzle combat mode.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It was given good reviews. It was praised for the complete character roster. 62 total warriors in the game.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Game Informer said, nothing really comes close to what Midway has thrown together here. GameSpot liked the Conquest mode, saying, which was a low point of the Mortal Kombat Deception, was a strength of Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Oh, cool.
People didn't really like the creative fatality feature as much. Reviews came in between 50 and 80%.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a whatever. And it's like, yeah, fuck it, make it yourself.
The cool thing is all the characters up to that point. 62.
Yeah, that's a large roster.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat Unchained in 2006 was a PlayStation Portable version of Mortal Kombat Deception.
Weird.
It had all the characters from the GameCube version of Deception, and they added 4 more.
Huh. So the PSP got a better version than GameCube did. Awesome.
Yeah. 2007, Ultimate Mortal Kombat was a DS port, an arcade perfect port of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and had Wi-Fi play, and brought back the puzzle game, the mini game Puzzle Combat.
Right, I guess the DS was a really good console.
You could
arcade perfect and Wi-Fi. Damn.
You could unlock Ermac, Melina, and classic SubZero with combat codes.
Cool.
Look at that, just blowing through the years now. 2008, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. It was the Midway Games' last project before filing for bankruptcy and selling the rights to Warner Brothers.
Gosh, I wonder if those two things are related at all.
So Midway Games in 2007 announced they were planning to make a new game in the Mortal Kombat franchise inspired by a showcase of Gears of War. So Mortal Kombat 8 would have been a dark, gritty, serious, back to basics reboot of the franchise.
But it started off not gritty.
Yeah.
It was colorful.
Eventually, yeah. So during the planning process, they made a deal with DC Comics, scrapped that idea, and made this.
All right, then.
So in 2008, they announced the crossover and they released a trailer. The only thing that did remain from that Gears of War inspiration was the use of the Unreal Engine 3.
Yeah, fair enough. Unreal Engine's solid.
So you could play the game from either the DC Universe side or the Mortal Kombat side, and they split it up into chapters. They added a free fall or falling combat, which was a little mini game sequence being knocked between areas, which...
That actually sounds pretty cool.
Remember Injustice? Wasn't that a thing?
Those were little cutscenes happening when you get knocked between areas. This sounds more like the old Dragon Ball Z fighting games where you had like quick time events to do big fight set scenes.
Yeah, it says one player would hit buttons to sort of raise a bar above a line, while the other player push buttons to lower the bar, which changed how much damage was inflicted.
Yeah, that's straight out of the Dragon Ball Z games.
They added close combat, which is where characters get really close to each other and have like a CQC fight.
Weird.
Yeah, and Test Your Might was worked into the gameplay. So in certain areas, you could smash the opponent through a series of walls if you won a tug-of-war and your damage meter was higher.
This actually really sounds like those good Dragon Ball Z games we used to play.
Rage mode had a rage meter that would fill every time you received damage or gave damage. So sort of like the aggressor. All of the characters except for Darkseid, Shao Kahn, and Dark Khan had finishing moves. I don't see Dark Khan in the list of characters. So who knows, maybe Evernote renamed that. So the Mortal Kombat characters and the DC villains had fatalities, while the DC heroes had heroic brutalities. Which function in the same matter, but don't kill opponents.
That is so DC. Heroic brutalities. What the actual shit?
So
I love it.
22 playable characters, 11 each. Mortal Kombat had Baraka, Jax, Kano, Kitana, Liu Kang, Raiden, Scorpion, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, Sonya, and SubZero. DC had Batman, Captain Marvel, Catwoman, Deathstroke, Darkseid, The Flash, Green Lantern, The Joker, Lex Luthor, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
This actually sounds like a good game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it. I thought it was just kind of like under the radar and didn't do so well.
Well, received mixed reviews. Adam Sessler from XPlay said, whether it's a decade-late answer for the Marvel vs. Capcom team-up games or an off-the-cuff boardroom joke gone wildly too far, Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe is destined to make just about anyone's shortlist of bizarre video game team-ups. Still, sometimes too disparate? Is that a word? Disparate?
Yeah. Disparate.
Oh.
Disparate. Now you got me thinking it sounds wrong.
Two different things can merge to create unique synergy that makes the melding work, however unlikely it seemed at the outset. So, GamePro said it was surprisingly enjoyable. 70 to 80% for reviews.
Not bad. I would have expected lower from no particular reason. I just assumed, I guess. So, hang on my face.
Because of heroic brutalities.
I love it. I kind of want to play it now. I'm like, that's kind of Batman's 100% MO is heroic brutality. I
saw a nice breakdown of how Batman treats people in Arkham Asylum, and it's like, basically their brain would bleed to death if he did this.
Oh, yeah. That's like in the comics, there's a group of people band together because they have deformities from how Batman took them down. One guy's got like the imprint of the bat boot on his face from like a burning boot that Batman stomped him with. Or is a guy with a batarang lodged in his brain that he's got like some kind of weird Tourette's.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Getting real close. 2011. See, that's getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Kombat. So
they rebooted it with the original name. Oh, I hate that. I hate it.
So they became NetherRealm Studios, and this is their first Mortal Kombat game. Wow, I put a lot of preamble in here, and it is getting long. So it's a two-dimensional fighting plane at 60 frames per second.
Oh.
Although the characters were rendered three-dimensional, the game was given depth, so 2.5D.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So unlike previous Mortal Kombat games, 4 buttons on the game controller were your attacks, and it was linked to each limb, it says.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a bit different from like mid punch, high punch, low punch, etc.
So maybe a tap and a press were different? I kind of want to play it. If XL is the same like this.
I'm kind of expecting like Octodad combat. Each button's a different limb.
But random. Ooh, boy.
Maybe not that far.
So they added a super meter for performing special attacks. It would charge by getting blocked by the opponent or hitting them, sort of thing. I think Injustice uses this system a lot, and it's NetherRealm Studios, so of course Injustice is going to play a lot like it.
Oh yeah.
They added X-ray moves where using a full meter you would hit your opponent and it would go slow-mo and show an X-ray of their skeleton or organs being ruptured.
Yeah, there's that thing you said Batman was doing in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. They added a challenge tower with 300 challenges. Like, wow, there's a lot of...
Crazy.
Other challenges could be test your might, which we know. Mm-hmm. Test your sight, which we know.
Yeah.
Test your strike, which was destroying specific blocks in a stack. And
but that breaks the rhyme scheme.
And a test your luck, where you would fight in a battle, but some conditions might be no jumping.
Well, now they're not even trying.
So, 4-player tag team feature added to this, so 2 players could play together. That's pretty cool. Yeah, during the tag, you could do a tag assist where your ally hops in, helps, jumps out.
Oh yeah, like Marvel vs. Capcom kind of thing.
34 characters, and 1 extra for PlayStation. So, tons of characters. The exclusive to PlayStation, Kratos.
Okay. I mean, I guess he kind of fits in, but Scorpion's got his whole flaming chain thing down, so...
Yeah. Tech Tree, some publication said Mortal Kombat is one of the reasons for people to own a gaming console in 2011.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Reviews came in between 70 and 90%.
Wow. That's higher than I would expect.
2011, after this, the Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection. So just like blah, blah content. An HD... It was supposed to be an HD remake of early Mortal Kombat games. Had an upscaled and redone character sprites and everything. The HD Arcade Collection was supposed to be made by Other Ocean Interactive. Mm-hmm. They made the Ultimate Mortal Kombat for DS, but it was canceled.
Oh.
And they never officially announced before when it was canceled.
Huh.
So they just released a simple compilation of the games, which Other Ocean also made. This collection got between 50 and 60% in reviews.
Or it's just kind of nostalgia, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mortal Kombat Complete Collection, Complete Edition in 2012, which was the previous game Mortal Kombat re-released with a bunch of content. All the DLC just shoved into it.
I'm not keeping count, but I think that half of the Mortal Kombat games by volume are remakes.
2015, Mortal Kombat X, which one fun thing is Boon said, we have these meetings that everybody comes up with ideas for fatalities. The ones people say, there's no way we can do that, they're the ones that we work on first. That's pretty cool.
So edgy.
Yeah. Stamina meter was added again. It gets consumed when you run, backdash, break a combo, interact with the stage, do a special moves. So, sort of limiting what you can do.
Yeah, make it so that you have to do a basic fight every once in a while.
So, in addition to fatalities, they add quitality, where it instantly kills the player of a quitting. It kills the character of a quitting player during a match.
Oh, okay.
Then they added faction kills because each character had a faction they were aligned to, so you could have a special grudge kill if they were against your faction.
I'm sorry, but why do you need a game mechanic that kills the character of a player that quit? Usually it's just like, hey, they quit, you won.
So it doesn't go disconnected, you win. It goes like disconnected, and then you get to watch your character savagely murder your opponent.
Yeah, okay. I guess it's cathartic.
Yeah. They made Special Forces.
Fair.
Just like keep bringing that up. Special Forces, though.
Ooh, yep.
I know it's 10 years old with Special Forces. Stage brutalities were just a fatality that when you triggered an environmental interaction.
But not on the pit, too.
Story, 1v1 ranked, King of the Hill, test your luck. They added a bunch of new stuff. Keep you engaged with a game that's starting to get old.
Yeah.
36 characters over DLC and mobile, because not all the characters in the list are available.
Oh.
One DLC character from the previous Mortal Kombat is only available in the Mortal Kombat X mobile game, and that's Freddy Krueger.
What?
This game features DLC characters that are special guests, such as Alien, Predator, Jason Voorhees, and Leatherface.
Because why not, I guess?
Because Halloween.
Jesus.
I think Jason and Leatherface were like close together, and Alien Predator were their own pack. I seen the X-ray beatdowns on a Predator, and it's interesting because they have his special bone structure and everything. So basically, the mobile game that was released was like a fighting card battler game where it would unlock content for the console, and the console would unlock content for the mobile game.
Oh, one of those little Ouroboros things. Keep you engaged.
It got great reviews. Metacritic gave the Xbox One version 86 out of 100, PS4 version 83 out of 100.
Wow.
The Windows version 76, because, ports.
Yeah.
The fastest selling game in the Mortal Kombat series on the US and UK PS4 sales charts.
Wow. That's impressive.
And then 2016, Mortal Kombat XL, they re-released Mortal Kombat X with all the content they added.
Cool.
Yeah. That's the shortest one I have.
It's like, hey, that game again. More content that you might already own.
Yeah, they released the Combat Pack 2 that added more characters.
Yeah.
They also announced there's a XL coming, so if you missed the game, you can buy it with all the content.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. That's basically like the Game of the Year collection, whatever, of all the DLC.
Yeah. So we talked a lot of Mortal Kombat. I skipped a ton of Easter eggs, inside jokes, the films, the TV, the music behind the game. So much content.
Hey, I still have like the Techno Syndrome KMFDM Mortal Kombat Annihilation music.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
The music's good, yep. I remember, like, even as a kid, I remember how campy it was. Because I'm like, ooh, there's my favorite character. And then as he, like, emerges through the dust, it goes, Cyrax. And I'm like, what? It's announcing a character in a movie?
Yeah. Because it's the tournament. You have to know who you're fighting in the tournament.
It wasn't the tournament. It was Jax saving Sonya, and Cyrax blew up a wall and walked through.
Oh, I remember that part. I don't remember the announcement, though. Oh.
Because then he does this thing where he, like, lifts up his arms, and then the bombs shoot out of his chest, and they're like, what are those?
Maybe he's a Pokemon, and he just had to say his name as he came in the room.
Cyrax. Yeah. So, Holy Mortal Kombat. Batman, because he's now tied to Mortal Kombat forever.
Yeah, and since Scorpion was in Injustice, it gets a two-way bond there.
Yeah, and Injustice 2 is getting SubZero.
Mm-hmm. Justin's been saying how good Injustice 2 is. I think he's going to make me play it when I go down there and visit him.
Sweet.
Should be interesting.
So that's all I'm going to do for Mortal Kombat, because
So that's been an hour and a half of Mortal Kombat.
So yeah, when I thought Mortal Kombat, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like 8 things. Kinda, but there was a lot of
How naive you were. There was 8 things and then the 16 remakes of those 8 things.
Yep. At least those were short. So if you have a suggestion for a gaming thing you want me to look into for a gaming history, you can get a hold of us through social media, email. We're PS2J Show basically everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PS2JShow@gmail.com. It's really easy to get a hold of us.
And if we say something is in the description on one of our If we say something's in the description in one of our other episodes, that's usually over on PS2JShow.com. We've got comment section, all kinds of fun stuff there, as well as our support page.
And that's not a technical support, that's a support us page.
Yeah.
With info, yeah.
If you go to ps2jshow.com/support, you can see the different ways you can help us just make more and better content.
And some of it costs you nothing, and some of it saves you money, like going to Ripped Apparel and using the coupon code PS2JShow. You save 10%.
It's always good. Or if you use our Amazon affiliate link, it costs you no extra money and just tells Amazon, hey, these are cool guys, they deserve some free money.
Yeah. Except for all this work we've done.
Well, I mean, we're doing no work for Amazon.
Right. Except for schlepping their stuff.
Yeah, true.
They'll run the world soon.
If they don't already, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Illuminati.
So, any parting words on Mortal Kombat, Alan?
It's a fun game.
I really liked Mortal Kombat too.
Yeah, I think the ones that I mainly remember are the Deadly Alliance and the Shaolin something.
Shaolin monks.
That's the words.
Sweet. So, thank you very much for joining us. Wait.
So close.
So, thank you for listening.
And thanks for pressing start.